the quiet icon's social impact. How Billie Eilish forced pop stars to become activists. Environmentalism and mental health advocacy. Imagine this. A dark stage, a single microphone, a silent figure under the lights. Yet her words not only fill the space before her, but also shake the world around her. This figure has become an icon for millions of young people worldwide, transforming the music stage from a mere arena of entertainment into an open platform for activism. Yes, that person is Billie Eilish. And the question we must ask is this: why are pop stars no longer content with just singing? Why are they becoming representatives of active change? This text explores Billie Eilish's art, activism, cultural leadership, and mechanisms of social influence under 8 main headings, from environmentalism to mental health, from music to fashion and the touring industry. These chapters not only tell her story, but also demonstrate how a pop star can become a catalyst for social movements. If you're ready, let's begin. The power of voice. From pop star to activist, many pop stars go on stage, sing, bask in the spotlight, and step down to applause. But Billie Eilish went beyond this cycle. She began using the microphone not merely for entertainment, but for a message. This transformation marked a shift from an artist identity to an activist identity. First, Eilish's rise at a very young age, attracting global attention from the age of 14, gave her a unique position in the music world. This combination of youth and fame allowed her to become not just someone who sings, but someone who has a voice that matters. Secondly, she broke free from the traditional expectations of pop culture. Beyond providing entertainment, she infused awareness and purpose into her art. Her songs weren't just hits, they were carriers of meaning. She projected her concerns about climate change and environmental destruction into her lyrics and performances. Thirdly, this transition includes a crucial aspect of cultural leadership. Eilish is more than an artist. She's a symbol. For Generation Z, she represents a voice that proves young people can be heard. With this identity, she expanded the question, what can a pop star do? And became the voice of activism. In conclusion, Billie Eilish's transformation into an activist wasn't accidental. It was a conscious choice. By using her music and popularity as instruments, she crossed over from entertainment to social impact. In every sense, she truly embodies the definition of a quiet icon. An eco-conscious life and responsibility on stage, Billie Eilish's activism isn't just talk, it's a lifestyle. In the matter of environmentalism, she takes tangible steps not only in her lyrics but also behind the scenes and in tour operations. This is where the phrase, forcing artists into activism finds its real meaning. For example, her sustainable tour practices have drawn global attention. During the Happier Than Ever tour in 2022, her team eliminated single-use plastics, preferred plant-based foods, and restructured logistics to minimize waste. The entire process, from production to transportation and consumption, was redesigned with the planet in mind. Secondly, her way of sharing environmental awareness with her young audience is significant. During the 2022 Overheated event in London, she gathered activists and fans to discuss plant-based eating, sustainable fashion, and community building. This marked her transition from artist to campaign initiator. Thirdly, her personal lifestyle choices, veganism, animal rights advocacy, and sustainable fashion, all reflect a holistic environmental identity. Since 2014, she has lived vegetarian and later fully vegan, showing that activism doesn't have to be limited to bright stages but can exist in daily life. In short, Billie Eilish doesn't just sing about environmentalism, she lives it. From her diet to her tour planning, every detail echoes ecological responsibility. Her example sets a precedent for other pop stars. If you have a voice on stage, you also have a duty off stage. Mental health and activism, a voice breaking taboos. Alongside environmentalism, another equally powerful realm is mental health, and Billie Eilish refused to stay silent there. By addressing anxiety, depression, and emotional pressure, topics deeply embedded in youth experience, she shattered long-standing taboos. Firstly, by openly discussing her own mental health struggles, she gave her young fans a vital message: you are not alone. Eilish has spoken candidly about separation anxiety, body image issues, and the pressure of fame from an early age. This honesty broke through the traditional perfect pop star facade. Secondly, she didn't just discuss these issues, she turned them into art. Her short film, Not My Responsibility, directly confronted double standards and body image expectations imposed on women. This revealed that her activism wasn't just aesthetic, it carried deep ethical and cultural meaning. Thirdly, her mental health advocacy extended to concrete actions, campaigns, public service announcements, and collaborations aimed at raising awareness. For instance, she joined the Seize the Awkward campaign, declaring that asking for help isn't weakness. Through this, her popularity became a bridge connecting entertainment and activism. In conclusion, by bringing mental health into her art and public voice, Billie Eilish deepened the landscape of pop culture. She showed that activism isn't just about visibility, it's about effectiveness. From words to action, activism in songs and performances for any artist, one of the most powerful tools is their music, the fusion of melody, lyrics, and stage presence. Billie Eilish uses these tools not merely for emotional storytelling, but as instruments of social call. First, her lyrics and music videos go beyond catchiness. They carry meaning. For instance, All the Good Girls Go to Hell metaphorically depicts the climate crisis, marking a shift toward what some call conscious pop. Second, her stage performances have turned into acts of activism. At a major music awards show, she wore a t-shirt reading "No Music on a Dead Planet," delivering an environmental message to millions of viewers. Such visual symbolism harnesses the agenda-setting power of pop culture. Third, Eilish blurs the boundary between art and activism. In her aesthetic choices, narratives, and public statements, she merges her artistic and activist identities. Thus, she redefines what it means to be a pop star, not just to perform, but to drive real change. In summary, Billie Eilish's songs and performances aren't mere entertainment, they're calls to action. Through her art, she embodies cultural leadership and paves the way for others to follow. Fashion, sustainability, and cultural impact art doesn't end with music. Fashion, product design, and branding are also part of a cultural leader's influence. Billie Eilish extends her activism into these fields, using fashion as a channel for sustainability, animal rights, and ethical awareness. Firstly, her stage outfits and fashion choices are not simply aesthetic, they are statements. By rejecting body norms and embracing oversized, gender-neutral clothing, she challenged the hypersexualized image often imposed on female pop stars. Secondly, she calls for sustainability within the fashion industry. She refuses to partner with brands that use exploitative materials or unsustainable practices. For her tours, she collaborates with eco-friendly designers instead of fast fashion giants, prompting fans to reconsider the ethics of consumption. Thirdly, through her style, she sends a message of personal identity plus social responsibility. She doesn't just say, "I'm here on stage." She asks, "Why am I here, and what do I represent?" Thus, fashion becomes both an artistic and a moral act. In summary, Billie Eilish transformed the fashion stage from a display of glamour into a platform for activism, blending aesthetics with ethics and reshaping what pop culture can stand for. The touring industry and the green stage practice behind the glamour of music lies an industry, stages, concerts, logistics that often leaves a heavy environmental footprint. Billie Eilish reimagined this background as a green zone, setting a precedent for others. Her 2022 world tour was notable for its eco-conscious practices, plant-based catering, the elimination of single-use plastics, and energy-efficient stage design. These actions challenged the long-held idea that, quote, music tours equal environmental damage. Secondly, these weren't symbolic gestures. They yielded measurable results, reductions in water use, energy consumption, and waste generation. She proved that backstage management could be part of activism too. Thirdly, her example sent a message to the entire industry. If she can do it, so can you. This is cultural leadership not just on an individual scale, but on a sectoral one, an invitation to transformation. In conclusion, Billie Eilish turned the unseen parts of touring into visible acts of conscience. She demonstrated that pop stars can create impact not only on stage, but beyond it. Gen Z culture and activism, a new school of thought. Cultural leadership isn't confined to a performer's stage. It echoes across generations, audiences, and digital spaces. Billie Eilish embodies the voice of Generation Z, aligning with their values of environmentalism, mental health awareness, and equality. First, General Z's search for meaningful artists finds resonance in Eilish's persona, someone not just creating hits, but standing for something. This made her a role model for millions of young people worldwide. Secondly, the artist-fan relationship has evolved in the social media era. Billie engages with her followers not only through music, but through shared values and causes. This digital closeness amplifies the reach of her activism. Thirdly, she contributes to the transformation of pop culture itself, where addressing social issues is becoming the new norm. The question, "What if I become a pop star?" now implies responsibility. Her influence thus reshapes both audience expectations and social consciousness. In short, through her connection with Gen Z, Billie Eilish represents a new form of cultural leadership, one that blends art, authenticity, and activism into a single movement. Resistance, criticism, and the real face of activism. No path of activism or cultural leadership is smooth. Billie Eilish, too, has faced resistance, criticism, and inner conflict. This section explores the vulnerabilities and contradictions behind the icon. Firstly, her sustainability efforts drew scrutiny. Critics pointed out the inherent contradictions between the demands of stardom, like global touring or luxury partnerships, and environmental ideals. Some accused her of hypocrisy for flying or collaborating with major brands. Secondly, the mental toll of activism itself is real. Billie admitted to struggling with anxiety and, quote, climate grief, once saying, "It makes me want to barf all over the floor." Such honesty humanizes activism, reminding us it isn't romantic. It's difficult, emotional work. Thirdly, leadership brings responsibility, and visibility brings pressure. Every step she takes becomes a test case. Can we truly practice what we preach? Activism, in this sense, is not automatic success but ongoing negotiation. In conclusion, Billie Eilish's journey is far from perfect, but it's authentic. It shows that activism, even from a global stage, is filled with struggle, contradiction, and humanity. And that is the real face of cultural leadership, a realm woven from both brilliance and vulnerability. Conclusion. The voice of a quiet icon has reached deeper than the highest notes of pop culture. Billie Eilish has evolved beyond being a mere pop star into a figure of profound influence. She redefined her stage through environmental consciousness, brought mental health to the center of discussion, and impacted fashion, touring, and youth culture. As we have seen across these 8 chapters, art, leadership, and activism have intertwined. Performance has become more than a show. It has become a call to action. And here lies the key insight. Artists aren't being forced into activism. They're choosing it. Eilish's story proves that choice possible. Finally, this narrative should not be viewed merely as one individual's success, but as part of a collective transformation. Cultural leadership doesn't end with one artist's stage. It creates new norms, reshapes expectations, and changes how young generations think and act. Billie Eilish's quiet yet powerful impact has expanded the limits of pop and raised the rhythm of activism. And perhaps most importantly, this influence is still unfolding. For tomorrow's artists, it might just be the beginning.